So here we are. We're going to talk about part 2 to marriage fatigue.
Okay.
Which is working.
Career, working, is that the same thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Career, working, the demands of work.
Demands of work. Okay.
I remember when we weren't the marriage mentors and we weren't self-employed, and I remember I don't remember the day, but I remember that you had to go get Little D. This is when we lived in Howard County in Maryland, and I had to go to Olney. I had to go to Olney to get the girls. You had to go to Laurel to get Little D.
Right.
Then we had to run home.
Yeah.
Dinner, baths, homework, dinner, and then bedtime.
Right.
And then we would just be like, go to bed and do it all over again.
Right.
And I said, this cannot be my life. I was built for more than this. I remember saying that. And I remember saying to God, I said, Lord, I ask you to change the order in which things are happening. I need a change. And that was 2010. Do you remember that?
I remember it like it was yesterday.
And then we made our plans. I forgot I prayed that prayer. Got caught right back into the cycle of all the coming and going. And then out of nowhere, 2011 came. Remember the group home? All the girls were gone.
Right. I was still working in D.C.
Yeah.
At the school.
Yeah.
And so I was coming from D.C. all the way up to Howard County. And it was just too much.
And everything just started shifting.
Yeah.
Everything just started shifting, and we realized that it was because we had prayed that prayer.
You prayed that prayer.
I prayed that prayer.
I didn't pray that prayer.
I prayed that prayer.
Because I wasn't praying. I was tired.
Why weren't you praying? Because you didn't jump on board with your marriage fatigue like I did.
Because I was tired.
You were too
fatigued. My
talk.
fatigue, and I guess that's why we're talking about it. The reality of it is that, I guess I need to look in the camera and talk to them, huh?
Oh, hi.
Hey. So, I mean, we talked amongst ourselves, but we wanted to talk to our subscribers, or those who actually want to subscribe. But we wanted to talk, because last vlog we were talking about couples being tired in their marriage, and we shared a little bit about some of it could be mental health, undiagnosed mental health. So you saw that one.
Right.
And that could be one factor. The other factor is that looking at now in our career, so we shared a season in our marriage where we were running from, if you're familiar with the DMV area, running from DC to Howard County, from Baltimore, somewhere in Baltimore, to Howard County, and anything in between. And it was just a bit much. So we were saying, Sonia said she was praying. I said I wasn't. I mean, okay, I was praying, but not praying like, okay, I was praying like, God, give me some peace.
In my marriage fatigue days, that's when I would pray that prayer.
Right. And
like,
so,
Lord, change this, please.
If you are in your careers, you're married, and again, this is a broad conversation because you could be newly married in your new careers and just starting out, and so your fatigue could be at one level, but then you could be, retired and still are close to retirement, and the children are adults or on their way out, or you may have teenage children and you're still working. We're going to talk about parenting in the next one, but just more so, if you're tired in your career, the one thing that has helped us is that we talked about how we felt, and we talked about what we needed, and being able to sit in that spouse's seat and really not to diminish their fatigue, not to diminish, or not to minimize. But because we have different roles. I'm the husband. I'm the one that's supposed to be able to foresee the structure and the safety and the things that I'm responsible for, And it looks differently. My fatigue looks differently.
Oh, and I think that why you.
I wouldn't.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I'm going to finish that point. So
I'm going to forget.
I know you're not going to forget.
Yes, I am.
No, you got it. 2 seconds. My fatigue looks different than Sonia's fatigue. And we have to be able to, I needed validation. You can't just say how you feel. I need to feel validated and acknowledge that, yeah, bro, I get it, you tired. And I need something from that. I need you to rub my feet, give me words of encouragement, go get them, hey, do this, and just break me off a little something every now and then when I'm tired. Go ahead, you can go now.
See, I forgot.
Oh, you can go.
I did.
No, go keep going.
I forgot. Oh, I remember.
I messed you up to break me off?
Yeah, because I'm like, huh?
Yeah, break me off.
Break me off.
Okay,
What you talking about?
Okay, let's finish the thought. Go ahead. Continue.
Don't be acting like you're in deficit of that. That is not my story.
That's true. Let's talk about sex then.
Oh, no, we're not going to talk about. They already know I love sex. That's a no-brainer.
But they don't
Who
know
knows me knows that.
And that's a bit much. You need to figure out something else. I'm 58 years old. You got to figure out a whole routine.
All right, can you stay on subject?
I'm just trying to tell.
Can you stay on subject? Okay, so no, I was going to say that because of your role, because of Derek's role as husband, when I caught the vision that God had for us to move from Maryland and come to Georgia, because that's really what happened. God gave me the vision, and I tried to share with Derek, and he was not feeling it because he was already fatigued. Right. So, I do have the spiritual gift of faith. That's one of my spiritual gifts. And I remember just having the faith that God was going to show it to him. Now, he gave that thing to me. And when did we have that horrible snow that I had to dig out to drive all the way to Baltimore to deal with the group home crap? That was in January, right?
This was a major winter storm for the region. More snow fell on Monday than the last 2 winters combined. We had 6.9 inches at Reagan National Airport, and that was a record for January 3rd, and actually the most we've seen since January 13th in 2019. This storm was exceptional for the intensity of the snowfall, falling at 2 inches an hour, 3 inches an hour in some areas. And it wasn't just heavy snow, it was wet snow. So the snow accumulated on trees and power lines, and we had over 500,000 power outages in Virginia and Maryland. In addition to that, the snow was falling while temperatures were dropping. So we started off with rain. That caused the roads to become wet. And then in a matter of just 20 or 30 minutes, the precipitation changed to snow and then heavy snowfall, and it immediately began to stick to the roads, and the roads froze. So you had this layer of ice and then the snow falling on top of it. So roads just became very hazardous very quickly. And that's what led to the standstill on Interstate 95, the stranded motorists there for over 12 hours in some cases. In terms of preparation,
all the money that we were supposed to get was not provided for the group home that I was running. And apparently there was some billing error, so I couldn't pay my staff at the time. It was horrific. And I had to Derek had to dig my car out so I could go meet with one of the chief officers of the department that's over the comptroller, whatever. And while I was driving, that's when God said, I don't know why you're doing all of this, because I'm about to close all of that. And I was just trying to make sure that my staff got paid, because I ran a group home for teenage moms and for teen girls in the Baltimore area. And I inherited the group home from a lady that hired me to be her exec director, and then she died. And on the records for the state, I was the named responsible party. So that's how that group home happened. So I was saying that because people were like, what are you doing? You ran a group home? So I had to tell that part.
I know, it was important.
So while I'm driving to the comptroller's office, which was in Baltimore, God said, I'm closing this chapter. So I was like, well, okay, can you just help me get the money so I could pay the people? And basically, that was January of 2010. By April of 2010, the group home was closed. So I knew that he had started to move so that our prayers could be answered. So when I took that idea to Derek, I'm saying all of that to say, when I took that idea to Derek, he it was like it was a fly on his arm. Like he just, okay. Like no emotion, no response. But I got it later. He's the head of our household. He hasn't had the vision, right? So without him having the vision, he really had a hard time supporting me because all he's thinking about is we're moving, but how's that going to look financially? You know, what are we going to do for money? Because, you know, of course we were seeing clients very part-time out of our house back then. We had full-time tax-paying jobs. So I now as a wife understanding your role, I get why you weren't that excited until, what is it, like October?
Yeah.
Yeah. And that was January when I came back with that.
What did you need from me? Because you were fatigued. You were fatigued, and I need to tell you
I
what
needed you to support that vision because what helped me with my fatigue was the vision.
Okay. So
was knowing that this is one day this is going to end.
And I had a hard time with that one.
Right.
And so, you know, if you are fatigued in your marriage, if it has pertaining to your career, you know, you gotta make your income. You gotta work. You gotta provide. You gotta sustain. And so, what we want to help pull out of this is that there was a song by Chandler Moore's "Okay,
Not to Be Okay."
Not to be okay.
Oh, I love that song.
And being able to say to your spouse, "I'm tired."
And it's okay.
And it's okay. I'm overwhelmed.
Mm-hmm.
I'm frustrated. Now, we get it because we hear it a lot. The spouse may not be able to respond to those feelings or know what to do with those feelings.
Right.
Or they may just be detached or not receptive. But being able to just to let it out and say it, it may not change the circumstance. But one thing that we did do, we're going to finish this in 10 seconds. We're able to talk about how we felt when we are tired. And they come up with a plan. And so the end of that story is that we ended up moving, we got in the truck, we came to Georgia, we started the marriage business, and here we are doing counseling. And so...
there was a lot of fear.
So there was a lot of fear.
He had feelings of fear.
Right. Why are you pointing at me?
I had feelings of excitement.
Yeah.
Because I really saw the vision.
I need to talk about what feelings did I have.
You had fear.
Well, tell me.
The unknown and not being able to provide.
I was afraid of.
You were afraid of how to provide.
My fear was the unknown. Sonia's point, but I just wanted to say I had fear because that's like big.
No, I understand.
So my fear.
But as a leader, your fear was real.
Well, yeah, my fear was real, and that was the fear of the unknown, not knowing what's going to happen. And those things happen when you're in career changes and so your gender plays a big part into how you feel. She didn't have that fear of the unknown. Right. That's not her role,
and not my temperament.
That's not her temperament, not her role, but not her temperament. And so we wanted to leave that with you. So hopefully this was a chunk to understand that if you're tired in your careers, being able to have a discussion and talk about
and respect the temperament of the other, because you know Derek's temperament is fearful prone, mine is not. So I had to really respect the process that he had to go through with those feelings of the unknown, because he's the provider, and not just in a financial way but spiritually as well, and from a family unit perspective. So process the feelings that work may be causing you to have, and it's okay to shift. You know, I was watching our
we were going to do a short video.
I know. I was watching our. It's okay. I was watching I was watching our COVID vlog, and at the end of the COVID vlog, that was like last year, January. We talked about shifting, right? And we started doing this shift. You may have to shift. You know, some of you guys have been working the same job for 30 years, and it's drained you, but you haven't shifted. God's called you to do something else. This is for somebody. I know it is. And you have stayed where you are because you're afraid, but you have marriage fatigue, you're unfulfilled, you're dissatisfied, you come home and you're just a walking zombie because you've not fulfilled all of the purpose that God has put inside of you. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with having your 9 to 5, but if you know that this is not what God is calling you to do and you're walking around that way, shift. And you got to step out on faith. We would not be here doing the Marriage Menders full time for 10 years this year, full time if we had not made that shift. So shift. So now that you know what you're going to do with it. Thanks for watching. Yeah, Derek is tired. You look tired. You're not even excited about what we just said.
No, don't project only that I'm not excited about it. I am fatigued. I'm coming down with something.
Aww.
I don't feel well.
Okay.
I'm overwhelmed.
Okay.
So you can't say I'm not into it.
Well,
I'm physically
I didn't
tired.
know that you felt those feelings. Is that coming from work fatigue? Yeah.
Not work. I was good with work. It's just physically, I just don't feel well.
Well, here's the thing, and I know this is supposed to be a short video, but you see a lot of men. And I think that adds to the work fatigue. We're talking about work fatigue. You see a lot of men. Outside of our marriage business,
Go ahead.
Derek sees a lot of men and I see a lot of women, but I usually, I'm used to that. Women are a big part of our clientele. Men have more recently been coming for counseling, and I think that that's amazing. But I think Derek is tired because he's doing counseling a lot more hours than before because of the men.
Thank you for seeing something that I may not have seen.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's the case.
You're welcome.
I am sweating.
Mm-hmm.
I'm hot.
I'm about to take care of you. I'm about
tired.
to give you a hot shot.
But to your point, I appreciate you. I have to see if that's the case or not, because I mean, it's what I do.
Mm-hmm. But it's a lot.
It's just, but God has sustained me. He's given me what I needed. So,
But you just probably have to rest.
I do need to rest.
Mm-hmm.
And my mom's gonna watch this. Mom, I need some chicken noodle soup. My sister's watching. Baby sis, can you send me some, that turkey wings and
From Philadelphia.
yeah, freeze that thing up and melt it,
And
man.
send it to you.
I need your TLC and what you give me, but ain't nothing like some mama's TLC and sister's TLC. Okay.
Good. Hope you sleep with them.
Ooh, whoa. Well,
That's good. They can give you the TLC. Go ahead and get it. Let me see what you come up
All right,
with.
we're not going to cut this one.